Hello, 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 jelly friends. I'm back with another podcast. I know it's been a while, to be completely honest. I've been doing some stuff. I've been getting my life situated. I actually am working full time, balancing my personal life and my home life, and just also balancing my social life and my relationships and stuff like that. So I took some time off just to kind of get myself grounded again because I felt like I was floating and kind of not really grounded anymore. But I'm back and I feel better. I'm really figuring out things that I know I needed to figure out, you know? And I appreciate everyone that's been asking me when I was coming back because I love just that kind of feedback and knowing that I got a few people out there listening. So today's topic on October 18th, 2019, y'all went back to school. You experienced your first month of whichever grade you're going to, whether it's grade 9, 10, 11, or 12, or you just experienced your first year of university. Your first month of university, or your first month of second year of university, or so on. So we're going to talk about that. And, like, how is that? I know you guys can't respond, but it it's crazy, right? It's another school year, another year, another milestone, another thing to overcome. So I just want to give you guys a little spiel about myself, and not that I don't do that all the time, but I'm gonna do it again. So, my not characteristics, but my kind of little backstory bio is I'm one of the original creators slash founders of Cawthor Park's BSA, which means Black Students Association. So I'm one of the original leaders that kind of put it all together. Um, 2 years ago, I was standing right in Cawthor Park, ready to graduate, just kind of get myself out there into the real world. And honestly, when I talk to a lot of the high schoolers back at Cawthor, and I just kind of tell them that, like, it's okay to be lost and not know what you want, because even some grown adults don't know what they want. So you being 18, 17, 13, all those teens ages, and not knowing where you want to do or where you want to go in life is okay. You're allowed to feel that way. So yeah, you're allowed to feel kind of lost, and don't let that discourage you from looking into other streams of how you want to further your education or further your life. So, most of my followers and listeners know that I'm queer. Um, and if you don't understand what that means, it just means I am on the gay spectrum. I'm there. I identify with that. So, yeah, and as many of you know, I am black. I'm black and I'm a female. And those are just some of the things that you can see about me, that kind of contribute to how I'm viewed in society. I'm black and female. That's a struggle in itself, and because I'm very open about my sexuality, that can hinder a few things for me too. But that's not what we're here to talk about right now. Right now, we're talking about just school and figuring out how to survive especially in university, or in some of you guys' case, just figuring out where you want to go, and where you want to go from there. Like, how do you want to further your education? Um, I find that mental health isn't talked about a lot, but it should be. It's a necessary thing for um, young people to bring up, because we don't. Sometimes sorry. Sometimes it's looked down upon in households because it brings on a stigma of crazy and stuff like that. So don't shy away from the mental health topic, because it's one of the things that are killing today's youth, and it's depression and suicidal thoughts and anxiety. So always find someone you can talk to. There's nothing worse than keeping your emotions bottled up and causing yourself more harm, you know? Uh, Please feel free to follow me on Snapchat, and IG. Uh, Snapchat, YouTube, for Snapchat, you can get me at jellyjar.ent. For Instagram, you can get me at jelly_jar. And then on YouTube, since you already listened to this, you already know the channel. So make sure you subscribe, you like, and subscribe. So the do's and don'ts of university or college. Don't isolate yourself. It's one of the worst things you can do, because you already feel alone if you move away. And now you're just isolating yourself from the general population, where people are probably trying to make connections with you. Don't doubt yourself. If you doubt your ability to do something, you're just hindering your success. I find it important to believe that you can do anything, especially when it comes to schoolwork and just being successful in your career. Don't skip class. Please don't. If you skip class, you're failing yourself, and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage, because nobody benefits from you not being in class, and nobody else is harmed when you're not in class but you. Your professor doesn't. Oh, well, to put this straightforward and unfortunately a little harsh, your professor gets paid whether you go to class or not. And you not going to class isn't helping anybody, but you're really just failing yourself in the worst way possible. Don't be late. It's really awkward when you're in a lecture hall of maybe 1,500 students or 300, all these large numbers, and you're walking in the middle of your professor's lecture and all eyes are on you. So you don't want to be that person. Just try to be at least 5 minutes early, so that way you don't put yourself in that situation. Don't skip meals. It's important that you eat, because when you don't eat, it makes you feel worse because you don't have the energy to keep going. And then you're always thinking about your hunger, and you could possibly drop unhealthy weight amounts. And overall, it will put a damper on your health. So please don't skip meals. Don't go out every chance you get, like parties and big events. There's going to be things going on all over campus, all different sorts of distractions. And I'm not saying don't enjoy yourself, don't have fun, but sometimes you just need to stay at home or in your dorm or wherever and just be within yourself. You don't always have to be going out and doing things or doing something, because it's important to check on yourself, and it's important to know where you stand with your schoolwork. So going out every chance you get isn't necessarily a good idea. Some things you do have to pass up on. And most importantly, don't compare yourself to others. or your levels of success to others, because we are all different. We all have different things that we're good at. We all have different things that we're going to excel at, and we can't compare one person's success to another, because it's like comparing two different objects to each other and asking someone to um find the similarities in two things that don't even correlate. You may be both human and female and female, or male and male, but who you are is an individual characteristic in itself. Now for the do's, the fun stuff. Do your assignments and submit them on time, please, because 5% can turn into 50% and also a zero very quickly. And take it from me as someone that loves to procrastinate. I used to be like, oh, I'll take the 5%. And then eventually it turned into 15. Then it turned into 20. And then it turned into a whole whopping 30. And then eventually it just, no matter what I got, I was going to get a zero. So just be careful with that and make sure you just hand things on time. Hand things in on time. Do get involved. There's so many things out there that you're gonna find you kind of fit in with, and it'll be your little circle. And it's important that you do that, because it kind of opens up pathways for you. I know when I started trying to get into things, like I was part of Laurier's Black Students Association, and I just loved going to the events, and I was part of Laurier's athletic stuff, and that was fun too, because we had like the first year events and stuff like that. Um, yeah, so please get involved. You'll love it. You'll have a great time. Do ask questions and get clarification from your professor, because it's the worst thing the worst thing to happen is when like you put in like all this hard work into a project, and then you come across something that you don't necessarily understand, so you guess what the prof means by it, and then you do all this hard work and you hand it in, and the prof says, no, that's wrong, that's not what I wanted, and you end up getting a zero for something that you put like your all into. So always ask for clarification, even if it's a small thing, because some small things can turn into big things. Get a study buddy for every class that you have, because there's going to be days when you can't go in, or there's going to be days where you don't understand something. And it's always nice to have somebody in a class that you could kind of ask questions. And maybe if you didn't get it, maybe they didn't get it too. And both of you can go to the prof and get clarification. Always do your best. Never do less than you know you're capable of, because you're there to represent you as an individual and create your identity and move forward in society. So always put your best foot forward. Take time for you. So always always prioritize yourself. No one's more important than you. And you need to take time for you and make yourself feel special. I know this should be a given, but bathe. Take care of your personal hygiene. Don't wear the same clothes unwashed 3 days or 5 days in a row, because people will smell you. And especially if you're in university, people aren't going to be as nice as elementary school or high school. Like people will call you out on the fact that you smell, or people will spread gossip about you and stuff. And, it's important for you to take care of yourself. And who doesn't like smelling good? Just don't make yourself feel unnecessarily gross. Eat proper meals and utilize your meal plans. It's so, so important that you do that. As much as the food may taste horrible sometimes, you still need to eat, because you could start eating out a lot more and substituting healthy meals with processed crap. And it's important that you eat food that's gonna fuel you and keep you going and have good effects on your body and not just um, fill you with disgusting trans fats and all that stuff that you don't need when you're trying to be a successful student. Make backup plans for schoolwork and outings. Um, Rape culture is a thing. It's out there. And this isn't just for females. This is for males too. Date rape and all that stuff is real. Always have a backup plan. Don't leave your friends behind, especially if you're going to be drinking. Don't put yourself in a situation where you cannot get out of it and you're going to end up putting yourself in danger. Always have backup plans. Always have some way, some emergency plan, some way to contact anybody and never make yourself vulnerable. Um, when you're out there at university or even if you're just commuting and stuff, talk to your family. They're your biggest supporters. They're there for you. They have your best interest in mind. They want you to be successful. They want you to get out there. They want you to make a name for yourself. They want you to have the best experience possible. So talk to your family because they will help you feel less alone. And I can say from my own experience of first year, it talking the amount of times I called home crying to my mom about how stressed I was and how I couldn't handle a lot of things. It it shows that family's there for you because she talked me through a lot of it. And even though I'm not in school anymore and I'm taking a year off, that's because I knew she helped me understand where I stood within my academics and how I felt with school and she kind of talked me through my emotions. So I said, you know what? The healthiest thing for me is for me to take a year off and just kind of get myself situated again. And maybe university isn't for me and I go to school for college, which is more hands-on, especially with the things I want to be doing with my life. Groceries. Do them. It's important. You will go hungry if you don't do your groceries, especially if you don't utilize your meal plan. At least buy groceries and use apps like Flip to get good deals and discounts. And also look at flyers, make clips. I know it sounds like an old lady thing, but it'll save you a lot of money, and especially since you're a university student that or a college student that's not making a lot of money, you're gonna want to have those coupons and those discounts and all those sales. Be a leader, don't be a follower. Lead by example and lead as if the whole world is watching. Because what you do and how you act in university and college, it can follow you anywhere. So always be a leader, always lead by example, always put your best face forward, as I said before. Tips. It's not much, but it's important. Lock up your stuff. Um, People are opportunists. If you leave your stuff out in the open and you don't take care of it, someone will take it. Whether you like to believe it or not everyone in this world is a good person, and moments of opportunity arise, and people will take it if they have the opportunity to. I know this sounds a little pessimistic, but trust nobody. Nobody out there is hardcore riding for you. Like, these are people you just met, they're new faces. Don't trust them as hardcore as you would trust family. Always have this kind of space between you and them. Like, you can be close, but don't give out too much information. Um don't make them know more about you than they should. Let's put it that way. And like I said before, always have an emergency plan. It's important. If you don't have an emergency plan, you shouldn't be going out, to be completely honest with you, because then you're just putting yourself in danger. Clubs. Find your BSA, your GSA, which is the Gay Straight Alliance. Find your MSA, which is the Muslim Student Alliance or Association. Find your radio club, your athletic council, your art councils, your student body, your student union, whatever it is. Find them and look into them, because that's where you find your group of people, your forever friends, things like that, your connections. Those are the places where you make those good relationships. Research. Always look into your school and program, um, using tools like My Blueprint and the school websites. Research in when it comes to that aspect is important, but when you do research for school, it's very important that you cite your work properly, because in university and college, they're not as lenient as high school. If you are docked or caught plagiarizing work, it's not just a slap on the wrist, it's grounds for expulsion, or even grounds for a complete dismissal of that course, or even get kicked out of the school. And that's your career, that's your life. So why risk it by not citing things properly? So always do that. Always look into your citing. Make sure you do it. Check it once, check it twice. Make sure it's sweet and nice, Your resources. Print shops, academic advisors, counseling, financial aid, liquor stores, 24-hour drug stores, grocery stores, and convenience stores. Those are really important, because, especially the 24-hour ones, because you never know what happens. And just knowing where your 24-hour stores are could be a lifesaver. Invest in a first aid course. That's really important. You never know what could happen, especially if you're going to be out drinking and just being on your own. You should know the basics of first aid, because that could be between life and death and saving someone's life. Talk with your peer reps, like the people that are inside your residences, or even the frosh leaders that you've met. Talk to them, because that's what they're there for. They're there to help make you feel welcome, and they're there to make you feel like you belong. Talk to your TA, your teacher's assistants. They grade a lot of your stuff. Get to know them, get buddy with them, make them feel like you actually want to learn, because sometimes they are the ones that's actually grading your work. And the teachers, the profs, they only look over it just to make sure they're grading you properly. But other than that, they are your graders. They're your executioner, your judge, all of that. So make sure you make good relationships with them, with your teacher assistants. Back to talking to your parents/legal guardians. They're there for you. Like I said before, they have your best interest in mind. Don't ever consider yourself a failure if things don't go right. Flowers don't bloom all year round, right? So why should you? Why should you be great all the time, all the time, all the time? It's not reasonable. It's not realistic. You're going to have moments when you're not at your best. You're going to have moments where you're down in the dumps, where your work isn't at its top tier. And you just have to accept that. You just have to understand that with time, things will get better and things will improve. And you just have to recognize that right now you're not at your best, but you will get there. When you feel lost, always try to talk it out with your parents or your legal guardian. From my experience, my whole first year I felt pretty lost. Originally, I should have followed my heart. When in high school I didn't even feel like going to university anymore. But I told myself the only way I could be successful was if I went to university. And that's not on my parents. My mom and my dad never tried to force me to go to university, but it was always ingrained in my mind that university meant success and going to school meant success. And so I told myself is I couldn't take a year off. I couldn't do these things. I couldn't do that because if I did, then I would be failing and I would be a failure. But when I was at university, first semester went great. Like I'm not super intelligent, but I was fairly intelligent and I was getting good grades and I was doing well, but the only thing keeping me going was the frosh events and all the first year events that kind of kept me motivated and excited because I was like, oh, look at all these things to distract me from how I really feel. And then second semester came around and I lost my uncle. And that kind of took a toll on me because I was still grieving from the loss of a lot of family members a couple of years before. And I never really grieved properly. So I was always continuously in the sad emotional state. And then my uncle passing, and I tried to push myself through it, but then I just ended up um, in a kind of depressional state. And I didn't know where to go. And I just felt stuck and lost. And I just kind of had to take a step back and look at where I was. And I told myself, I said, this isn't for me. I can't stay in an environment that don't, I, I don't feel good in. And the whole school stress, I never liked it. And the expectations and the weight of the whole, feels like the whole weight of the world on my shoulders when I was at school, it just showed me that I didn't want to be there anymore because I wasn't enjoying my life. I was just pushing through it in hopes that maybe it would get better tomorrow. So I talked to my mom and my mom said, whatever you choose, I stand behind you because I know that you'll turn into whoever you want to be. But her exact words is, you'll turn into exactly who you want to be. And I believe her. And so I can't be afraid to take these leaps of faith and just kind of go out into the open. Um, that's just kind of my story. And this coming September, next year, September, I hope to be back into school, but in college, doing what I love. And I found my calling. My calling is youth, helping youth, and just using videography to do that as well, and just tell stories of these youth that are struggling and give them a voice. And right now, I just want to focus on Black youth because right now, that's who needs my help. And I'm not saying Black youth are helpless, but I'm saying that I could do a lot of good in that community. As a Black female, I could do a lot of good and just help because I know how it feels to be voiceless. Now, back to financial help. OSAP, as much as it's being cut and changed, still try to apply and see what you can get because that could put a lot of that could help you out a lot when it comes to your tuition and your fees and all that stuff. Get get bursaries, like research that stuff, look into it. Scholarships are important too. Try there's so many scholarships out there that it's that are going unclaimed that you should just really look. Like if you look hard enough, you'll find something there. And savings. Do what you can. Not everyone's working. But if you know you can afford to like put aside a few dollars here and there every time you get a paycheck or every time your parents give you money, it could go a long way when you look at it towards tuition and stuff. You could put it in a special savings account that accumulates dollars over time, you know? Dreams and just figuring out who you are. You don't have to know. I certainly didn't. I thought I knew. I kind of had an idea of what I wanted to do with my life, but I never really had a concrete feeling. And I just knew I wanted to do film. I just wanted to do videography. I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. And I knew that was just the stream that I wanted to go in. But I also knew I wanted to change lives. And I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to put my name on things. I wanted to make people feel good. So don't be afraid not knowing where you want to go with life, because it's hard. It's hard to figure it out at the age of 18, 17. Just trying to figure out your life and being thrown into the world that school barely prepares you for. Uni and colleges aren't everything. It's really not. You can go into the trades, you can do an apprenticeship, you can do internships, you can do anything. Not everything revolves around university and college. Co-op. If you're going to do a program, see if you can do a co-op. That could get you really far in life, because if you have the opportunity for a co-op, you could literally have a job set up for you right after you get out of university college. And guess what gets paid right away? It'll be your tuition, it'll be your debts. And that is something that you could look forward to being joyous about, just not having to stress about all this debt you accumulated over the years because you secured a job from a co-op you did while in university or college. So look into that, see if your program offers that. um I've just to give you guys like an update on my life, like lately I've been unhappy but at the same time very happy. And I know that kind of sounds weird. Like, how can you be happy yet unhappy? And it's just the idea that, like, I'm happy with what I'm doing and taking the steps to go forward, but I'm also unhappy with the fact that I feel stuck still. Like, I feel like I'm not making enough progress and that I'm a failure. Like, to be honest, when September started, I was in a pretty rough place because everyone was going back to school and I just felt like a failure, someone that maybe I tried to say, maybe I didn't try hard enough. Maybe that's why I couldn't be successful in university. Maybe I wasn't doing the best that Jarian could do, or I just kept putting myself down and beating myself up over the fact that I could barely finish 1 year of university. And I just had to kind of tell myself, like, look, you made it to university. You're not stupid. You're very intelligent. You just weren't ready. You weren't prepared for what you wanted to be doing, and you just didn't pick the right stream. And now I've accepted a lot of things. Like, I realize that not everything is going to go the way I want it to go. And yes, I should have known that from the start, and I did. But it's the fact that I actually had to accept that not everything is set in stone. A lot of things are just going to flow. And I have officially accepted that life is going to throw some curveballs and you're going to have to learn how to dodge or hit it. And I've hit some of them, and I've been hit by some of them, and I've also dodged a few. And I know that myself as a person, I can only go up, because when I fall, I'm not falling that far, because I've given myself that cushion to kind of just understand that it's okay. You made it this far. You can keep going. So that's where I am. I'm exploring my life and I'm enjoying it. I'm finding who Jahr is, and that's why it's Jelly Jar Entertainment. It's just, the possibilities are endless. And the things that keep me motivated is like seeing the Tyler Perry studios. Like, he made his own Hollywood. He is making his own version of the Warner Brothers Studios. He made it much bigger than theirs, and he did it as a black entrepreneur. He did that. And I know that I can do things like that too. I can get out there. I can make things happen. It just takes time. And I have to remember that, like, not instant gratification isn't always possible, but I will get the gratification I know I need and that I deserve. So right now I'm working on a few projects and I'm getting myself back out there. So thank you for listening to another Jelly Jar podcast. I'm going through some rebranding right now, or re-imaging. I'm gonna kind of change it around, and so it fits my aesthetic a bit more, and just bear with me. I know in my original podcast, my very first one, I had Chantel, um, Wally, and Bad Gal TT, and just the thing is, like, we all have such different schedules that it just didn't really work out. And unfortunately and fortunately, Chantel moved. She's gonna go do her thing, and um I don't see Wally as much anymore now that I'm working and stuff, so my schedule's kind of wonky. And then of course with Bad Gal TT, she's my best friend, and she's working on her stuff too, so she's just we all had these different schedules, and just things aren't lining up. So from now on it's going to be mainly me, and you'll probably get bad gal TT here and there, but it's just going to be more of a discussion jar thing, and of course I'll have guests coming in here and there. But yeah, it's going to just be me. It's just going to be your girl Jelly Jar. um just thank you for listening today. I hope you can take some pointers from this one and maybe kind of, I don't know, get like a weight lifted off your shoulders from all this stress, because you are important, and this that one grade doesn't define who you are. Don't be afraid to fail, because that's how you set yourself up for failure. So, love you guys. I hope you have an amazing Friday. I have more content coming your way. I have a few videos that I've pre-recorded that it's gonna drop soon. And I love you all, and have a great Friday. Bye.